And we are live with the Roundabout cast. Yay!
Yay!
Full cast night.
The Elite Four are back together.
Oh,
Speaking of Elite Four, Willer made a Pokemon fanfiction.
Yeah.
fuck, dude.
That we're going to turn into the next hit Pokemon mod.
Yeah, look forward to the ROM hack that will
Yes.
mean nothing to anyone but 12 people.
I already wrote my gym. Y'all gotta catch up.
Joe's gym is really cool. But,
It's got a whole storyline. It's
My
great.
gym has titties.
this is true.
I actually have to come up with the battle mechanics for Circuit's gym because it's actually a Final Fantasy 14 raid. I have to figure out how that system's going to work with Pokemon.
I mean, I don't think you would do it. I think the master would do it.
The
But,
master.
Okay, let's fucking jump into it. There's not much to do in free talk because actually we're not waiting 3 to 4 weeks to record this time, so it should be a nice brief time. I think there's gonna be like one semi-long topic because I have a lot of things to say on it, and then there's the big Bradley topic. But aside from that, let me pretty quick.
Um,
The one thing I did want to do in free talk, I'll use this as my turn. Is I wanted to plug our Stormlight Archives talk that we did recently. It featured me, Joe, Bradley, and 2 of our friends. So if you haven't checked that out and you're into books, go check that out. We're all currently in book 2, so to keep
Good
up.
motherfucking book.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
I just got to part 3 yesterday, I think, or 2
Yeah,
days ago.
same.
I'm on
And
chapter
in
17 still.
and in book club tradition, Tyler will be back 8 months later
Yes.
Yes.
when he finishes.
Ugh.
I mean, there will be no book club awaiting you, sir.
That's okay.
That's fine. You can talk about it here if you
Yeah,
want.
those books are still good, so I would still recommend. Like,
Yeah, no,
listening to them.
for sure.
Mhm.
I've been considering getting into Dune.
Dude, just read the first book. That book is immaculate.
Just
I
the
think
first one though.
Just the first one, because he originally made the first one as a standalone thing, and then it expanded into a series kind of deal. The second and third one might be worth getting into, but the first one, I read through like the first third of this book. And I was like, this is a Willer book 100%. It's like there's so many things. It's very Game of Thronesy, where you have a bunch, but like it's a bunch of different parties all vying for the same control sort of scheme.
I like that kind of setup.
So you get a lot of different perspectives of what is happening on this planet. I really like that book. It does. My big issue with fantasy and sci-fi books is that you get a bunch of gobbledygook jargon at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And the book edition that I have of Dune has an entire glossary of all the words that are gobbledygook. So if I see something I don't recognize as an actual word, I can look in the back of the book and read what it is.
That might not work so well in the format in which I consume books, which is not
Right. It's true. But you still get a lot of context of what they are, and they still explain to you what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But for reference, we're like, I'll put the book down for like a few weeks or something and pick it back up. If I forget what that word is, I can always go back to it. So there's just a comprehensive spot of where to find those things.
Have any of y'all read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Repair?
No.
No.
It's a good book. Check it out.
Have you guys read Magic Tree House number 37?
I have.
I think I have,
I
actually.
read up to 43.
I know, those were so good.
However, there's the Dune movie coming out, right? So I'll probably. I'm more of I prefer movies to books if they're good. So we'll see how that goes.
Being by the guy that did the current Blade Runner or the newest Blade Runner. That new Blade Runner is actually phenomenal. There's a scene in that movie that just lives in my brain.
Also has Ana de Armas in a prominent, sexy role, and that's primary crush right there.
Is Harrison Ford dead?
No, but the Star Wars franchise is dead to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
he died.
I'm thinking he's getting up there.
I mean,
I think he's around 80.
Don't will anything to existence because that's
I'm not
right now.
podcast.
I'm just saying, like, it's been a while since we've had like one of those years where it's like, oh my god, I can't believe this many people died.
Why are you talking about this? This is how you curse the year.
Yeah,
the year's been going pretty well so far.
Me and Bradley willed Pokemon Unite into existence. Yesterday, which is coming out.
Yo,
July
we're gonna
9th,
have Category 4 and 5 hurricanes hit Southeast Texas this year.
Shit.
Why are we
That's
so
just-
morbid right now? What's going on?
Yeah,
Oh, fun fact, here is actually something. Every time it snows in Texas, we have drastic weather changes that often lead to severe hurricanes hitting the Gulf Coast.
And in case
Like
people aren't aware,
Katrina,
Texas had
Laura.
a horrific snowstorm recently that is nothing to scoff at because it was the most expensive natural disaster of all time.
At least in
America.
So all that to say, we're gonna get fucked then if you're
Abbott got abortions banned instead of fixing our.
He's building our wall.
Build the wall.
Gotta love it. Also,
We're all
guns,
being extremely sarcastic.
guns for everyone.
Yeah, literally.
Literally, go pick it up in the school drive.
On a really morbid note, Willer and I went to the bar for the first time last weekend.
That is not a morbid note, actually, because
it was a great time, and we didn't go to our normal spot, which is 6th Street in Austin.
No, this is a morbid note.
Oh shit!
And there was a shooting, and 14 people were shot.
Holy shit.
One of them has
remember
since passed, and it was like, yes, back to normal includes random shootings in public.
Holy fuck!
I forgot those news, and I was wondering. I remember reading it. I was like, dude, Tyler barely knows what we just avoided last night. That's crazy.
No. I got a call at like 8 in the morning. They were like, hey, you were out last night, right? It's like, I wasn't at 6.
Damn.
Wow, that's...
Holy shit.
Well, we had a good time in another neighborhood.
And it was right in front of like Shakespeare's, where we go.
That's where we go all the time.
Holy fuck.
That's where Snake Dude is, and the pizza place.
Let's not go there anymore.
Oh, but hold on.
No, I mean, hold on. You gotta go. I mean,
That's true.
Don't let him win. Don't let him win the
That's
territory.
true. Don't let him win.
Was
we
it
have
like
a friend coming to visit in July. Really hoping we don't get any of that good old fashioned Wild West
you guys
experience.
are stressing me out. Let's not. One last book thing. I've been considering reading a book named A Man Called Ove because.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that? Because
I've heard this book. I've heard the first few lines, and it seems very interesting.
I want to try to audiobook more books. Unfortunately, I have 120 hours of Stormlight Archive still ahead of me. But maybe
me too.
And Pact whenever that comes out. I can't wait for more Pact to come out.
I can't believe that motherfucker had a baby.
Why does his handsome ass voice have to have a life?
Why does he have to have a good dick?
It's like a professional quality audiobook, and congrats to him and his wife for having a baby, but as soon as he did, the progress on the audiobook stopped.
And the reason why I know this book is I would plug a YouTube channel right now. Merphy Napier. Napier?
Is that the one you post?
She reads a bunch of books, and I followed her for a long time because I was doing research on what does a book nerd think of certain writing cliches, because I was doing research for writing things. Mm-hmm. And that's how I followed her. But she started reading One Piece, which is why I think it's a worthy plug, because her passion for One Piece, coming from a book reader who reads 1,000 books every year, is very vindicating, because
that is cool.
I had no idea this story was this good, and she did a video where she talked about she read this year, which is where A Man Named Ove came up.
Yeah.
And the way she talks about it, I'm this is a book for me, but she mentioned One Piece so many times in surprising books and books that made her cry and all that stuff. So that's a plug.
She got the Indies Lobby. At least that was the last video I watched. And whenever we talk about it, I tear up. So it was just not great seeing my backyard.
Shit's wild.
Actually, secondary plug, if we're doing plugs, the person who draws a lot of the art we use for our One Piece thumbnails, Amano Moon, is currently doing a little fundraiser to get their computer replaced.
Their computer caught fire.
We donated a little bit because of course they've been very generous to us. They pretty much gave us a full pass to use whatever art it is, as long as we credit them and all that. They're super nice.
Their watermarks are in most of our thumbnails for One Piece content.
Can't edit that out because we do use them often. We either use Oda's official colored artwork or their artwork because they mimic the current Wano anime style so well. So
and we're not a big channel. We don't make money doing this. Give them money. We do this for fun.
If you enjoy their art, which I think their art is phenomenal, do consider checking it out.
If you don't have any money to give, go retweet them. Like,
Yeah, they have
they're on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay.
It's anything to do. I have free talk.
We could actually free talk about E3 a little bit very
Oh.
Let's before we do E3, because we all do that. I have Fire Force on our schedule.
Okay, it is. Oh, I thought I put it in there. Okay, that's fine. You can do it now.
I watched season 1 and 2 of Fire Force. It started up a few years back, and I was like, that seems interesting. I didn't really get into it, and I was really happy I started watching it because I get a full 2 seasons of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very nice shut off my brain anime that isn't. I don't know. It is Soul Eater-esque because it's made by the same guy.
That's how you know you can turn off your brain, I think.
I get to turn off my brain and just kind of enjoy the ride that I'm going on. I don't have to think too much. There's not a lot coming at me, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. If you don't know what it's about firefighters actually turn into fire soldiers because one day the world caught on fire, and now people spontaneously combust randomly.
Yeah. I read the first chapter of this.
And so the main character we follow is Shinra, and he has like this devilish smile and something called the Devil's Footprint, because there's 3 different types of fire soldiers. There's like 1st generation, 2nd generation, and 3rd generation, and each one can control fire in a different way.
Yeah, the thing that's always interested me about that is how diverse can the battles be when everyone has the same core power set, and I think that's an interesting.
So I've only ever heard the name Fire Force, but I've seen nothing about it. I just thought it was about firefighters.
It is.
Wait, like
they fight?
They fight fires with their bare hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the fires are caused by like spontaneous combustion humans.
The Soul Eater author has fantastic ideas.
Oh yeah.
And it's cool because it's involved around this like religion.
Ooh.
And so like they actually like whenever they're fighting somebody who's spontaneously combusted, they always have a nun with them.
Yeah,
or a priest. And so like they have to like do the prayer.
Do the prayer.
Then, like, as they because they're putting humans to rest.
Yeah.
Basically, like they are about to kill a human who is combusted.
I like that. I like when shows and Jujutsu Kaisen does this, like dive into like the human loss at exercising a demonic force kind of thing.
Yeah. So I like that aspect of it, and there's a lot of conspiracy around the way the government is. We followed the little ragtag crew that's like in the abandoned building. They're the new team, and their job is to investigate every other team on the Fire Force, and they're the 8th team. So there's a lot of fun characters we get to see, a lot of cool powers. Think of it like Hunter x Hunter, but with fire, and that's literally the power system because everybody uses fire, but some can only. So like if you're 3rd generation, you can make fire. 2nd generation can only control fire, and I don't think 1st generation actually can do anything with fire. I think that's just like they were the first ones like after the Great Cataclysm or whatever.
Wait, what do they like? What do they do?
I don't know, man. I don't really remember.
They're probably the Logias who can turn into fire.
But like, there's a guy who like, there's a guy who shoots guns, and he can control how strong the bullets are coming out because he can manipulate the combustion inside of it.
Cool.
And so like he'll shoot like his partners when they're being little shits. He's like, stop being little shits, and he shoots them with non-lethal bullets. But it's really fun. I think it has a nice plot, not a lot of character development. If you're there for the story, you're there for the world story. It's revealed. It's a mystery that's cheesy and kind of easy to understand and follow. If you want something easy to watch, there's not a lot happening right now, except if you're watching like 86ers or Revengers.
Yeah.
Which those are on my list to watch as well. But it's nice, and season 2 ended, I'm pretty sure. So I know it's been confirmed in the manga they're doing a crossover with Soul Eater. Fire Force X Soul Eater. But I don't know if it's canon.
Like they're in the same universe, you said, with the moon, right?
So I like, are they in? So season 2 ends with like an antagonist like praying up to the moon, and it's a full moon, and then it like digitally disforms into the moon from Soul Eater with a big grin. And I was like,
is it a separate sequel?
I'm like wondering if these are set in the same universe where like vastly different parts of time and space.
Dude, seeing that moon thing probably would get me hype as shit.
Because there are other dimensions in this world, like that's been established. There's at least one other dimension. And also there is a character named Krona who literally looks like Death the Kid. Like
that's ironic.
I was like, cheeky.
If this feels like the kind of thing where like it's never going to be plot relevant, it's just like set dressing to say that they all exist in the same universe.
Maybe. I think it would be cool if it did become plot relevant.
I think that would be badass.
If he could find some way to do it, that'd be the biggest mindfuck ever.
I just don't see it happening unless it's already happened in the manga and everyone's just like, oh, you don't even know.
I don't know. I don't want to read the manga. I'm enjoying an anime.
Also, it's animated by David Productions, who does JoJo's. They do it really differently, and also the animation here is crazy. I've seen some clips, and it looks gorgeous. I guess
there are some good and bad episodes.
The Soul Eater art style must just be easy to adapt, because like the Soul Eater also looked real stylish and good.
Fuck yeah.
There is a thing that I'm like, it breaks the so the anime doesn't take itself too seriously either, which is fun and like fourth wall breaking it sometimes. Like there's this really serious character that they're like, we're gonna send in the Annihilator, and it's like, I am the Annihilator, destroyer of all, like ultimate assassin guy. And then there's this character who has a lucky lecherler. So like she'll just be walking down a hall, trip, and then like all of her clothes fall off, and then her boob and butt fall into the main character.
I've seen the trope.
Yeah, but she defeats this guy who's supposed to be the ultimate assassin in that bad guy Team Rocket group. That's what I call him. I call him Team Rocket. And she beats him because she just gets naked and he can't process it. And that's how she beats him. And then there's one episode where like he shows up out of nowhere and he's like, I've been training by going to strip clubs and building up my resistances to the female body. And then like something even more extreme happens. It's like a breeze rolls by and she falls over and her tits fall out. And he's like, I still can't handle it. And then like at the very end credits, he goes back again. And like even the bad guys are like, he's finally ready. Like he's going to do it. He's like been going like in the middle of typhoons and watching women's skirts roll up.
What are they doing out there? I don't know.
Apparently he's just going back at this point now because he enjoys it.
Good gimmick.
Stupid.
What did y'all enjoy from E3 this year? What are y'all picking up?
Guys,
Nintendo.
Oh my god!
I'm picking up Nintendo.
Dread.
You're right.
Metroid Dread, motherfucker.
Bradley, why don't you tell everyone the history of Metroid Dread?
Dude, okay.
20. We got to go back 11, 12 years ago.
We gotta go way back.
15
So
years or something.
the core Metroid games, like the Metroidvania side scroller ones, that are like Metroid without like the Prime ticked on. The last entry in the core Metroid series was 19 years ago with Metroid Fusion.
Yep.
And
Metroid Fusion was 19 years ago. Holy shit.
And like the thing is, I've just kind of always accepted that like any future Metroid games that come out are going to have to take place before Fusion because of the way Fusion ends. But this is a sequel, and like Metroid Dread was actually being planned to originally release around like, I don't know, 2005. But and it was gonna be like a really early title on the DS, but they were like, yeah, for the stuff we want to do, we just think like the tech isn't there, so we'll revisit it in the future. And we're in the future, baby. It's just
we are.
I fucking love the traditional Metroid games, and it's so cool to see another one coming out.
The gameplay to me looked very exciting. It's by the team that made Samus Returns, but they get to like really make their own thing now, their own game. It's got the parry. It's got like the omnidirectional shooting. It felt really fast paced. There was a sequence where the creature, I think it's called Emma, was chasing her, but it's like a yellow one, and it stops right in front of her, and she has like to stop moving and like let it pass. Like it has like some stealth, like chase sequences. It looks cool.
It's just go ahead.
It's actually made by the team who did Samus Returns and the original Metroid team. So it's a combination effort.
Wow. They're probably there more for... I bet they're there for, like, more plot reasons. Like, they're probably the more creative side, maybe.
It's such a good time to be alive because for a while, Metroid was experiencing an almost F-Zero tier drought of games. Like, it had been many years since they not only had put out like a main Metroid game, like many years since they even put out like a spin-off game.
Yeah, and like Prime Federations was the spin-off.
Their like triumphant return was this shitty soccer side game. And it did poorly, so everyone's like, well, shit, now they're just going to be like, oh, no one wants
I did not know that was a soccer game. Are you shitting me?
It's like, there are missions you can do where you, like, shoot monsters, but, like, the core thing I always saw advertised was this game where you're hitting balls into goals with your guns.
Holy shit. That's incredible.
So it's like everyone's like, oh, after this many years, they finally release a Metroid game, and it's this shit no one's going to buy. So now they're going to be like, oh, no one wants Metroid games.
I hate companies who do that. Capcom did it with Darkstalkers, where they put out like a re-release to gauge the engagement, and like people didn't buy it. And it's like, oh, now we'll never get to see Darkstalkers 4. Like, I hate that shit.
But someone fucking figured it out and decided, hey, what if we finally make another goddamn Metroid game? And they did it, and it looks awesome.
There are people who are in college who have never heard of a Metroid game before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've heard of him. They know Sam. Everyone.
I mean...
Oh, come on.
Samus is just a Smash character.
Yeah, they know the Smash character Samus and the Smash character Captain Falcon.
Yeah, it's probably about like the...
But it's really fun because, like, on the Nintendo Twitter, they're, like, tweeting common knowledge facts about Metroids and, like, the Metroid lore.
They're also dropping, like, mega spoilers about the game, too.
Yeah. High dislike.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll not look at that. This is the first Metroid game I'm going to buy. I've played some of the emulated GBA ones, but I'm going to actually buy this one.
You should play...
Fuck a Prime. No, fuck a Prime.
No, let me finish. You should play Metroid Zero Mission and Super Metroid.
They're not on my to-play list. I'm not.
They are pivotal for the series.
I've seen speed runs, and I know the plot more or less. This is the one I'm gonna play.
I'm gonna play this one too. I saw this as like, this game looks great. It flows very quickly. I like the design of the rooms.
I like the level design immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and I think like a very modern Metroid game would also sticks to its classic roots, so it'll be really fun.
I could see this being an easy game for some reason, because Metroid is traditionally kind of hard, and I feel like when you give a character more action-oriented gameplay, like the parry and like her her mobility seems quite good. I feel like you run into the risk of either making it busted hard or very easy. Mm-hmm. All that to say, Bradley should probably play on hard mode when he picks it up. Because,
fuck yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to stay on my little bitch mode because I don't really know what's going on.
I'll play on hard because I don't know what I'm doing.
God.
I think it's like as the Castlevania Metroidvania series obtains better UX features, Nintendo wants to still keep the same level quality of difficulty, but better UX decreases that difficulty inherently. So they don't want to make enemies harder or add more reaction time. So it's just...
We'll see how it pans out, right? I'm interested to see how, that's just a weird thing I thought. I was like, she looks very powerful in this one, so I hope it's...
Dude, she has a slide. I'm excited about that.
Mega Man's been sliding for years, but that's whatever. For me, that looks cool. I'm not particularly excited about Breath of the Wild 2. Well, here's the thing. The location looks great. The Sky Islands look beautiful, and I like the new water power-up where, you shoot up and go through geometry and, the new, seems like there's a lot of time stuff going on. I feel like this game, and I'm calling it now, the ending of this game is going to be reverting time to save Zelda and the Guardians so they can be alive in lore. What do you mean? It's not a spoiler, it's a theory!
I'm at Ganon's castle. I never beat the game because I didn't want it to end.
Me neither! I don't finish
You haven't spoiled it for like 6 years!
That has nothing to do with... Zelda didn't die. I'm assuming she dies between games. I don't think she dies.
I hate that bitch.
Yeah, don't get Bradley started on...
You don't like legging Zelda?
No, she's fucking hot, but like the ending of that game, I already kind of didn't like this iteration of Zelda, but the ending of that game made me never want to interact with that character again.
Well, she's going to be a central character, I'm sure.
Okay. I'm also weirdly not as excited as I thought I would be for Breath of the Wild 2.
To be fair, they showed very little. I'm probably I'm probably on track to get more hyped when they show more. I'll probably pick it up either way.
I don't think I will actually pick up Breath of the Wild 2.
They really needed to show dungeons, man. That's what they gotta show me, like real ass big dungeons.
That if they were like actual big at like dungeons.
I like the shrines. Don't get me wrong. I want them to cut the shrines in half and add at least like 4 to 6 dungeons.
And I want dungeons. So like the dungeons in Breath of the Wild were all the big mech beasts,
which were really hype and cool, but interiorly they looked all the same.
I want actual like locations that feels like you are exploring, like as examples, like a vampiric castle or some underground water temple,
or a weird mansion where a Yeti lives. That's such a good fucking dungeon, man.
It's like they're like Breath of the Wild's all about exploration, but it felt like the places you were going were you just ended up in the same place because you were always in those mechs, or in those shrines.
I think you haven't played Breath of the Wild in a while.
I don't
agree
with your opinions,
but all the mechs look the same.
Well, interiorly they do.
Yeah.
Exteriorly, the first time I saw those mechs is still some of the best gaming experiences of my life.
That shit's crazy.
The first one I saw was the volcano one. I was watching it crawl around the volcano. I was like, what the fuck is that? I was mind blown.
Huge volcano. Cool. The desert's great. Zora's Domain.
But I want it there. I don't want a mech there. I want a thing. I want something else that's not a mech, and it's not the same thing over and over.
Well, guess what? It's the same fucking universe.
I know.
Place, so.
We'll see.
Like, I really need this world to be really, really good and fresh and new. Because, like, the best aspect of Breath of the Wild for me was that first time exploring and seeing everything.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I originally got Genshin Impact because I was like, oh my god, it's just more Breath of the Wild. I love Breath of the Wild. But after having played this shit for, like, 4 times as many hours as I played Breath of the Wild, going from Genshin Impact to Breath of the Wild could feel like putting on a straitjacket combat-wise.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, I need Breath of the Wild to go hard on what it does really well, which is that
competition's there.
I've gone on record to say that the Genshin Impact world, and I haven't even explored it all, is fucking phenomenal.
It's fucking awesome.
As a professional,
this is true.
Genshin World slaps pretty hard.
It slaps pretty fucking hard.
This is a professional level designer for the EA.
However, Genshin does not have a really cool desert, really cool volcano.
Dude, like my favorite really cool water area. Like my favorite. That's the thing is, I like the contents of the Genshin world. But Breath of the Wild had such high variability. Like, when you walk into a new region, you have no idea what you're going to fucking see.
But, you know, by the end of Genshin, it'll have more variability. It'll take a while, though. But also, like, the nooks and crannies in Genshin and the actual geometry, something about it just hits this thing in me. Oh, man. Anyways, I'm also excited for. I want to maybe check out Advanced Wars, and they actually showed a Mario Party that I'm interested in.
Oh my god,
Mario Party All Stars!
Mario Party, give us more money.
This is the Mario Party. I don't really like Mario Party. I think I'm gonna get this one though. It has online, so we can have Discord
Mario
nights.
Party.
It's just like they came out with the Switch Mario Party, and so like the thing Nintendo did with all their goddamn Mario games, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They did it with Mario Tennis. They did it with Splatoon 2. All of these games, for a year to a year and a half after they came out, every single month they got free content updates, new characters, new stages, blah, blah, blah. So Mario Party comes out, it only has like 4 fucking stages. I'm like, oh, they're gonna monthly content updates.
Nothing.
The only update they did took like a year and a half to come out, and it was like, hey, we finally added online multiplayer.
Which,
was that not a 2018 game? That was like 2 years.
Yeah,
it could have been longer. So,
which also I bet was just them test running it for this game that's coming out.
Yeah, that is exactly what that was.
So this Mario Party though, oh my god, it looks so good.
Spaceland.
I'm really excited for. Let's see, where was it? Oh no, I lost it. I'll just say it. Mario Golf comes out next month.
Oh, does it?
Nice.
I'm getting it as a trade with Tyler. I will be picking this game up.
What is Tyler playing?
Strive.
And having a bad time trying to get
it. I thought you were having a good time.
I tilted Tyler today.
I am going back to try and get better, but I'm not having a good time.
Oh man!
I got 5 wins in a row last night, and I'm playing against Giovanni's, and then I play against Joe's Giovanni, and I get my shit kicked in. I'm like,
a leader of Team Rocket. Outside of Nintendo, real quick, Capcom really let me down because they showed stuff we already knew. However, Great Ace Attorney is my most anticipated game of the year. So
that's next month, right?
God, I can't fucking wait to play more Ace Attorney. Oh, it's been since 2016.
And it'll be on the Switch.
Oh,
I'm gonna get on the Switch.
God,
but they still did not announce Ace for Smash.
They no Ace Attorney 7 or Phoenix Wright. We got Kazuya, Kazuya is my secondary in Tekken, and before people get mad at fighting game characters in Smash, there are 4 out of 82. Fucking relax, people. Okay.
I thought that was cool. I was like really excited that Tekken gets a character.
I was like sick.
I've watched multiple reactions. I was the fastest to get it out of anyone I've seen.
I will say, like, if you can have like 10 characters from one game, it's okay to have 4 characters from one genre.
Yeah, like give me a break here. And I'm glad it's not Heihachi because he's been in other stuff. Kazuya is cool because he's a protagonist turned antagonist, and I've always liked his playstyle. He's an edgy boy that actually works for me, which is rare. However, a game that I'm very keen to pick up and people are very mixed about it is the Guardians game. Something about it gives me a lot of faith in that game, and I can't really explain why. I think they showed it off for too long, so I understand why people are upset.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm sketchy because of the Avengers game.
It is it's single player, which already fixes a lot of that. But I'm already like the choice. It feels like a mini Mass Effect with characters I already like. Mm-hmm. Mantis's design is so freaking cute in it. I like the choices you made in the gameplay demo they showed. The combat looks more RPG than action, and I think people are looking at it as an action combat. When I see it, I see a Final Fantasy VII Remake-esque RPG combat.
I saw that. I was like, I think that might be the only other one this year that I was like, okay, this actually has my interest and I want to see more of later.
It comes out soon, so.
Does it? When does it come out?
August or October, one of the two.
Dude, Metroid comes out in October.
Yeah.
Oh, like that's the thing. Like they announced this game, and I was like, okay, this will be fun to play in holiday 2020
year.
And then 4 months. Oh,
I'm excited for Wizard with a Gun from Devolver.
Yeah, that shit looks so good. That's a pretty game.
The one game they announced, they're such fucking lords.
Oh, okay. My under the radar pick, Cruisin' Blast.
Yeah.
I grew up playing the Cruisin' games, like Cruisin' USA and Cruisin' the World.
I'm surprised you missed that. Yeah.
Yeah, those are like fun little. I don't know how I missed it, but those are
the arcade cabinet games too, right?
Yeah, that's what they all are. But I like
those are fun.
I also had
straight racers.
What is it? It's not Tropic. It's Hydro Thunder.
Wow, with the boats?
Yeah, the boats one. Dude, game was absolutely insane. It's
fucking
like
shitty.
It is literally if Billions Road is Mario Party, this is the Billions Road version of Mario Kart.
That bullshit.
No items or anything, but it's just crazy.
You hit a boyu and you go.
And like they're NPC controlled like non-racer boats. Like you'll get like a super fast like what's a tourist boat, and there's like an announcer like
A yacht?
speaking in another. No, it's like one of those little like river boats. It speeds up beside you, yells at you in a
pontoon,
foreign language like, "Oh, and if you look on the left, you will see these boats go by us. Here we go!" And then they just speed off. I'm
That
like,
sounds fun.
Yeah.
Anyone got anything else? We got to move on because we just turned our short podcast into a real normal podcast.
Ah, god damn it.
It happens.
Yeah.
All right. Tyler and I watched Bo Burnham's Inside. Not much to say about a comedy special, but we can give our quick reviews. Tyler watched it first, and then he's like, "Willer, you should watch this." I was like, I have not been having a good month, and as it turns out, I was so depressed that it didn't really affect me at all. I just kind of felt bad for Bo.
It's not a depressing show. That's why.
I think it's like depressing for him because he was going through a really rough time.
That's Bo
But
Burnham's
also, like,
character, though.
it felt like he was over torturing himself for no reason.
That's just the character he plays.
Yeah, it felt like a Bo Burnham special, which is a very big endorsement for a lot of people, but for me, it makes it like a 7 out of 10. It's very music focused. The songs aren't necessarily anything I would listen to on my own, but they are very good in the moment. I feel like these are songs that are very good if you're listening to the full set, as in watching the Netflix special, but I wouldn't necessarily throw them in a car, which I know pretty much everyone else that watches it does, including Tyler.
It's been his highest quality one so far, and it's a unique piece of work.
Yes.
Where he does all the camera work, music, writing, jokes, editing. Like
kind of editing. He sent.
It is
I watched
it is
the
a-
credits, and he did send it to like a post-production studio too.
But it is like mostly a one-man show.
And that is the part that I really took away from was the artistry at work. Like as an artist, very cool.
Very cool. I would say it is definitely worth a watch.
Yeah.
I would say it's one of the best comedy specials to come out in a long time. If you want to even classify it in the same genre, it might just be a unique piece of work.
It's not a butt guster, but like I had stupid giggles
Man.
frequently.
I hate it when I get butt gusters.
Butt gusters. Oh God, gut busters. No, the podcast is over.
So my only thing is, we had a friend who's like, "Oh, it just sounds like Bo Burnham." I was like, "Okay, well, I had to go." He hasn't come out with anything in 5 years, so I haven't really like inhaled a lot of his content. And then I watched it, I enjoyed it, went back and like listened to some of his other stuff, and it is like the concepts and worldviews in his songs are repeated pretty much in some of them. They're just presented differently.
Something about his
music.
presentation where like he has this move where he will like be singing and then he'll look away and like go off key and just say a sentence really loud to like catch you off guard. Like he does a lot of that.
That's his Bo move.
That is the bow attack.
He studied George Carlin and Steve Martin a lot, so.
But
I mean,
yeah,
they're both great.
Give it a check if you have some Netflix and you wanna. Like, I think it could bum some people out, so keep that in mind. But I was just like, I don't know.
High quality. I recommend it. I force my friends to watch it. My friends who don't like Bo like it. So
Maybe, like I said, I feel like he was torturing himself by like isolating that hard. Like get on a Discord call, go hang out with a friend who's also been quarantining if you need it. Like Jesus. But okay. Next up, a game came out, and I mentioned it last podcast, but we saved the talk about it, called Eternal Return: Black Survival. Black Survivor?
Black Survival.
Survival. It is a MOBA battle royale made by are they Korean?
Yes.
Made by a Korean team. And I was genuinely blown away by this game.
Oh my God.
Bradley got Omega hooked. We got our friend Ryan playing. Tyler's playing. It's a good freaking time.
I suck at this game.
I think
bad.
I've played like maybe one game of League since we found out this game existed, and that makes me very happy.
Yeah, it is the League killer waiting to be killed by Pokemon Unite. It is, which is a worthy death. But yeah, like, I think something that stuck out to me, and I complain about when League has a generic anime character, and I see the hypocritical side of me coming out here. I complain when like a generic anime Gwen style character comes out in League, but I feel like that's because League exists in a world with more variance. In Black Survival, everyone is just kind of like
a normal person.
They have a style, and it's an anime style. However, I think within that style, it's a more cohesive style, first of all, as opposed to like the multiple races in League and the multiple locations. But also, all the character designs are kind of fire. I really like all of them.
And God, all the movesets.
The movesets are super well thought out, really polished. No buggy movesets I've ever run into, which is kind of crazy because this is a game still in early access, more or less. They're probably making hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, and like for an early access game, holy fuck, it is polished.
And the way it works is you get dropped into this static map, but the map has items that spawn semi-randomly depending on the location. And as the match goes on, certain locations of the map turn red, and if you stand in a red area for too long, you insta-die. So you're slowly corralled into a final area to fight, Battle Royale style. But the way the map doesn't collapse from the edges, it collapses randomly by city block.
Yeah.
And that's pretty different, I feel like, from other Battle Royales I've played.
It's nice in the... it's a nice take on the MOBA formula in a sense that... you don't have to grind minions the entire time.
That's I love that.
Yeah,
you build up your items through finding stuff and crafting them to come together.
You do kill minion style characters, but it feels
they're jungle
yeah.
creeps and they drop items for you.
Yeah. If I had to have a complaint with this game, and I know Bradley and I don't see eye to eye on this one, is I do feel there's a degree of RNG. But every MOBA has this, or sorry, every Battle Royale has this, to be fair, where like sometimes people will just have raided the one item and it didn't spawn where you needed it, so your route is slower than usual because you have to explore that first area longer, and really you can't do much until you build your first weapon, and it's very key that you do. But then like, you think you're having a good time, but you run into a team where like, your team, they all have 4 items built, which you're like, wow, this is pretty good pace, but then they already have 6. And that's just unwinnable. There's very little outplaying the item advantage. I feel like the skill part of the game comes if you survive until everyone has their full item, and that's when the game's at its best.
I was going to say, the skill aspect of the game is minimizing the effect that RNG has on you.
Yeah.
Because number one... Like, you should be able to tell before the game even starts, I'm not going to be able to get any of my items at the temple. And so it's like, oh, I need to go to this area because that has a lot of the same items as the temple, and the temple is going to be cleared out because people started there. And the other even bigger aspect of the skill for minimizing RNG is as you're going through your route, people try to stick too closely to the set of items they chose before the match starts. You need to be grabbing other components that can also build into items you use as contingency plans for if you don't get the items for like the item you did want.
Which
knowledge gap.
There's a big knowledge gap, which I think is a pretty harsh skill ceiling. Now, if you're playing solo, that's probably not as bad, but in team games, I never want to be the bum leg of the team, so that gets to me. And then
I have a problem with the knowledge for items.
It's kind of harsh. I wish they made items slightly more plentiful, which I think like people who really get it, like Bradley, would be like, no, I spent time to like learn all this. But I think there's an argument to be made about skill floors, and like I want this game to be big. I want a lot of people to play this game. I haven't had time to play it recently, but I do want to come back to it. And I feel like there's accessibility questions to be asked in that front.
My deal is that there are items that are used for building. So there's like weapons and stuff you can build, but there's also usable items too, like traps, bombs.
Which is a super fun system.
Yeah, as well as food and drinks, which foods are health potions, drinks are mana potions. And they're really essential to combat once you get into it. My main beef is that there are items that are used for traps and equipment, but also are used for food and potion, like drinks. And I would like there to be some type of dividing line between those items. Like, for example, is a lighter. Lighter is a very common item, and it's used for like boiled water and for a lot of weapons. And it's like, I kind of wish they would kind of skip that step of boiled water. I get that it's nice to have that skill ability, but there's so many items in the game, it makes it hard to be like, oh, do I use a lighter for my weapon, or these like some other piece of armor that I need, or do I use it for boiling water to get better mana potions?
To be fair, I feel like their patch changes are trending in the direction that like is a little bit towards my direction.
Game is very early access too.
So they're still tweaking. Like you could tell they really pay attention to balance, I feel like.
I would say it's better than the first season of League of Legends, that they had.
To be fair, they have 200 years of game design experience on top.
Yo, there was a talk in E3 that said over 600 years of game design experience. I was like, you don't want to tell people that,
that's
bro.
Like the dumbest fucking line a developer can say.
Well, I have 2 million years of human brain knowledge development.
Jesus.
Anywho, all the characters are great. I like playing. Actually, there's not a character I would not like to play in that game. I just like them all, but I mainly play Leon, Shoichi, some Adriana.
That's the thing, is like I get so fucking excited for the free character rotation because I want to play all of them.
Yeah, there's always going to be a character in the free character rotation I want to play, which is not something I can say about League. So I've never really cared about the League free character.
I like that the matches are pretty small too. I think it's like 15 people.
There are 18 people, 18 to 20. I think you can go up to 20 maybe in the single mode. I'm not sure, but I like how the match length is also not League sized.
Yeah, like 20 minutes is considered a very fucking long match.
Yeah.
Now that does go into like the first 4 minutes of a match. Unless like 3 people are on you, you're not gonna fight anyone. But like when you get to the end, the game is so fun. Like if you make it past those 15 minutes with like a solid team, it is incredibly fun. And Bradley's a beast.
It's always so fun doing like rescue missions or some shit if your friend gets down across the match.
Yeah, I haven't played with the rescue system yet. That seems fun.
Man.
But that's a turn over turn. It's free. I think we
would
all recommend it. Maybe not Joe. Joe's not super hot.
Super hot fire.
I've never really enjoyed Battle Royale games.
Yeah.
It's the loop for me to like go in and kind of learn is just too much of like a disparity of like I have to go in, wait for a game to load up. There's a long queue times for this game, number one. So if you die early in a game, you're like, okay.
But there is the revival system now.
There is a revival system now, but it doesn't work in solo play now, does it, bud?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because like in other battle royales, I didn't finish my point with the randomness. In other battle royales, if you don't get good guns, you can still outskill the item. Actually, that is something I'd like to see, but I don't think anyone would agree. Is that this game for me would be perfect if it was less about building a League build. Where like the items are super important the items are more minor and you're building a lot of consumables and one-time usables, like very crafty shit, and it becomes a little more Twitch based, skill based, and like a battle royale shooter. Where
I will say I can admit that this game does feel like item diff is very, very powerful. I feel like even if you're outplaying the other guy, if he's one item up, he might still be able to stop.
But I think it would be an unpopular opinion to say that I'd like the items to make less impact, but them to overemphasize traps and healing items. And like maybe you could craft summoner spell type abilities too. Like, but that's all whatever. Bradley, why don't you tell us about Bradley Fixation number 13?
Bradley ate the red pill.
I went on a very long journey the past 1 or 2 months. I'm going to plug this guy. His name is Cybershell on YouTube, and he released a video called Why Sonic Adventure DX is a Bad Port. And I was like, I like the Sonic Adventure games, right? and I don't know if I do. Well, I thought I liked them, but I liked them for the wrong reasons. Anyway, basically, his point in that video was he recalled a time when he was little and Sonic Adventure DX first came out, and he was really excited because Sonic Adventure was one of his favorite games on the Dreamcast, and he was ready to see it on a newer, more powerful system with updated graphics. And he remembers looking at it and he's like, man, I remember this game looking a lot better and feeling a lot better to play. But he said for over a decade, he just chalked it up to, I mean, I'm probably just nostalgic for the Dreamcast one. I'll always see that game through the eyes of a child. And he said it wasn't until he was an adult that he actually saw the game side by side. And he's like, no, the GameCube one objectively looks so much worse.
Which is surprising because then Bradley went on to show me, and yeah, the texture work is just very different in the two versions.
There's textures that have been downscaled. Even the audio, like in his video, he plays these audio clips, and it sounds clear on the Dreamcast one, and on the GameCube, it sounds like someone talking into a sock or something. and the lighting's also so weird because, for example, the game rotates from daytime to afternoon to nighttime and stuff. And like in the city, in the GameCube version, there will be stuff that is lit up as if it's daytime, even though everything else is like dark because it's nighttime. But the worst thing is Sonic Adventure DX is considered by very many people to be kind of a joke because holy fuck, it is one of the glitchiest games ever. In the near the beginning of the first level in the game, there's like a loop-de-loop you're supposed to run on. And if you just try to run on the loop-de-loop normal, you will die 100% of the time.
Jeez.
Wait, so how do you have to run on it?
You have to deliberately slow yourself down, hold yourself to the far left, and jump over this area, or else the terrain will like suck you into it and you will clip through it.
That's for sure, 100%. I remember Aaron from the Game Grumps dying there a couple times, but is it really like that frequent?
Every time I've ever played Sonic Adventure DX, I have consciously had to avoid dying in that spot.
Great.
And the thing, that is the most notorious bug in the game, and it's not even in the Dreamcast version. And there's so much stuff like that. Like, for example, I think I've always remembered Sonic Adventure DX just kind of feeling awkward with the levels where I always felt like I had to be careful with my steps or else I would fall off, or I'd be in a good groove and then all of a sudden something would stop me in my tracks or something. And I thought that was just how the game was designed, but I'm going to put it like this. And I think I explained it to you guys like this before. Majora's Mask was remade for the 3DS. And they remade all of the maps one-to-one exactly how they were in the original game. But what was not one-to-one was how the character moved, how you walked and jumped and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Which the thing is, a level designer makes the level based on how the character moves, partially, probably for other reasons too. And so, for example, Majora's Mask, there's like maybe puzzles with how you move, where you're the Deku Scrub and you have to like hop across these lily pads and you only get a specific amount of hops. So you have to time it just right to get to the next lily pad. But because the movement works differently than the levels were designed for, some of those puzzles you might not even realize they're puzzles because they're too easy. And some other puzzles might be way harder than they were originally. Mm-hmm. And that's what playing the Dreamcast version of Sonic Adventure was like. I remember these levels feeling so awkward and terrible, and it was a joy to run through these fucking levels.
Cool. You know what? I watched you play it the other day. It seems like it's either 30 frames or below it. Well, maybe the GameCube one is 60, and that frame difference fucked up a bunch of physics. Is that possible?
Yeah. So there's a lot of frame dependent stuff in Sonic Adventure 1. Like, for example, the AI for one of the enemies is like, he's supposed to stay invisible for a second or two and then come out for just long enough to attack you, and then he turns invisible again. And when he's invisible, he's invincible. Well, they made his AI frame dependent, and in the GameCube version, his AI like ticks fast enough that he is literally unkillable. He will appear and then instantly disappear again. And there's so much shit like that. So,
God,
this is my first time playing through Sonic Adventure completely 100% of the way through, because when I was little, I'd play Sonic Adventure DX. I might complete Sonic's story, a few levels of the other people's, and then I was like, this sucks. And oh my god, this game was such a fucking joy to play. I loved all the levels except for Kind of Big the Cats.
yeah.
But luckily, that's the shortest story in the campaign. The game, there were parts of the game that looked really beautiful because they actually had lighting and stuff like that. Gamma's story, I actually said "what the fuck" out loud at the end of his story because that was
Gamma.
He's the robot, and they actually tried on that story, which was cool.
Yeah, they didn't have to go that hard, but they did.
Music in the game's pretty fire, gotta say.
Red Mountain shoutouts.
What really surprised me about this game is in Sonic Adventure 2, which I'm going to talk about in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only time I ever played a Sonic Adventure 2 level more than once was to grind Chow materials. There were no levels that I played through it multiple times. Even if I liked the level like Metal Harbor,
Yeah.
I never played through a level multiple times just because I liked playing it. I was playing it to get something. In this level, in Sonic Adventure 1, most of the Sonic levels I just played multiple times immediately after I beat them because I was like, holy fuck, that was such a fun level to play.
Man, you were having the time of your life with this one.
Yeah, it was really fucking fun. Huge fan of this game. And then I moved on to Sonic Adventure 2, which one thing I heard once, researching the differences between the Dreamcast and GameCube versions of the game, people consider Sonic Adventure 1 on Dreamcast to be vastly superior to the port, and that is extremely apparent if you've played either one for 5 minutes. Now, Sonic Adventure 2 on the GameCube, I believe, is still considered the superior version.
It seems
However,
like there's some give and take there.
There is a lot of give and take. The thing is, a lot of stuff was left out in the GameCube port of Sonic Adventure 2, but the stuff they did add kind of makes up for it. Now, I kind of had a crisis here. My entire life, I've always been like, oh yeah, Sonic Adventure 2, exclusively better than Sonic Adventure 1. They improved on it in every way because I was playing the GameCube versions. After having now played Sonic Adventure 1 as it's meant to be played, I think Sonic Adventure 2 drastically lower quality gameplay-wise. Gameplay-wise.
Damn.
Graphically,
grinding.
graphically looks better. Side content's better.
Back when I gave a shit about Sonic, there was always those people who liked Adventure 1, and I never really played it, but I would watch Adventure 1 and be like, this doesn't look anywhere near as good as 2. But I guess they just were playing the wrong version.
Until this past month, Bradley's the first person I've ever met that's played Sonic Adventure 1.
Dude, it's just
I didn't know it was an actual game. I just thought only Sonic Adventure 2 Battle existed. I was like, there's gotta be a first one, right?
What?
Get out of here.
It's like,
I just like going from 1 to 2 this past weekend when I was beating 2 is probably the most I've ever like cussed out a video game. I was getting so fucking frustrated.
the dinosaur?
No. Every goddamn level except for City Escape and Metal Harbor.
Oh, you mean Biohazard? No, Biohazard's a fine boss. You're just bad.
No, not the
like
boss. Not the boss is the
Well,
level.
He said the
Like
dinosaur. I'm like...
But Bradley's talking about the levels.
Yes.
Like, dude, I remember as a kid, the gravity level where you have to hit all the different switches.
God, that level's not great.
Because the thing is, Sonic Adventure 1 levels are meant to be run through at high speeds in ways that make you feel good, where the mastery of the game comes with... there's always multiple paths to get to your destination.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, as you're running through the level, exploring different ways to move through the environment to get there quicker. But Sonic Adventure 2, number 1... there's less variability in the environments because like every level in Sonic Adventure 1 feels very distinct to me. In Sonic Adventure 2, the second half of each story is like entirely on the Ark space colony. So Most
Yeah,
of the levels in the game are space levels.
Yeah, all right. I was about to say that first half is very varied, I feel like, but
Yeah, and then after that, it's just Arc Space Colony. And what really pisses me off is that you get to fucking run and move and be Sonic in Sonic Adventure 1, but in Sonic Adventure 2, in a lot of the levels, if you try to just run and be Sonic, you will die for it. They do all this stuff where each level has its own puzzle gimmick, which could have been cool, but it really sucks because there's like the gravity level, and it's like if you're not extremely careful with every step you take, you'll just fall off and die and then have to restart the entire level over. And then so there will be like gravity, this is the gravity level, this is the switches level, blah blah blah, and you just have to stop and think about what you're doing. And I don't want to stop and think about what I'm doing in this game. But and so the other thing that was pissing me off about the level designs is they do shit that Dark Soul does, where they'll lure you in with like treasure, but then underneath the treasure, there's just a bottomless pit and you die. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And if it was just a one-off thing, I would be like, oh, I mean, there's probably something that's supposed to happen there, and I just missed it, and so I fell to my death. But it's like in so many levels, there will be an enemy off to the side, and you homing attack it, and then there's nothing else to homing attack to, and you fall. Or there will be a trail of rings you can light dash on that just leads down into a fucking hole where you die. And
You gotta stop.
Those gotcha moments are not for this game. And
oh man,
the shit that was really killing me, and this is something Willer reminded me of before I started replaying Sonic Adventure 2. In the final level, Cannon Core, like probably one of the most notorious levels in this game is Knuckles' portion of that level.
holy shit!
It is almost impossible to beat without finding the completely optional and secret upgrade that allows you to breathe underwater.
Yeah, I distinctly remember that.
I didn't think that was optional. I couldn't.
Yeah.
You can go the whole game without it.
There's the underground mine level. I could not beat that without that.
I had to look up a video of a guy beating it without the air necklace.
Just to get the movement perfect, because it has to be perfect.
Yeah. And the thing is, I only found one video of a guy beating that without the air necklace and without glitches, because most people apparently just glitch through the wall, which is really easy to do in that game.
Is that what you did?
No, so here's the thing. I was able to beat it one time without the air necklace, which I didn't know was possible because the guy I watched who beat it without the air necklace, he beat it on the GameCube version. That level was already notoriously hard on the GameCube version. It's harder on the Dreamcast version.
Oh, God.
So there's a room where by the time you get into the room, you only have about 4 seconds of air left. It is a tall column room with lasers you have to dodge.
Distinctly remember this room.
And there's bubbles at the bottom that you have to get air. Now, the problem with this room on the Dreamcast, they changed it completely on the GameCube. The Dreamcast has more lasers. In the GameCube version, they added a shield whenever you enter the room so you can afford to get hit once. That's not in the Dreamcast. But the kicker is at the bottom where the air bubbles are, there's a pool of acid below each bubble. And the thing is, once you grab a bubble, your character will involuntarily sink a few feet. So in the Dreamcast version, it is impossible to grab a bubble without taking damage. In the GameCube version, they added crates underneath the bubbles so you don't get hit.
Wow, this is fucked.
I don't know. That level was fucking hard. All the levels were fucking pissing me off. In Sonic Adventure 1, there was not I did die, but there was never a time I died where I felt like I didn't deserve it. In Sonic Adventure 2, every single death I had felt undeserved, except for like the ones in boss fights. Sometimes I would just like clip through a wall and then fly off to the side.
Man, I really remember hating like the Sonic and Shadow battle moments.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
especially in the jungle and like the space
jungle
area.
one is so bad. The space one, at least you're like, it's kind of cool how you're just moving fast forever. The jungle one is ass.
The space one ends. There's an end to that.
Dude, you're bad. I don't know.
I've reached it.
All I know is that fucking boss fight, like Wheeler was talking to me and he's like, that battle feels a little random. I don't know. It's like, I feel like you just somersault and sometimes you hit him, sometimes you don't. And so I was watching a speed run of this game and the speedrunner was doing the space fight against Shadow. And I was like, surely there's got to be a trick to this fight. Like, there's got to be a way to reliably hit him. And he's like, no, you keep homing attack and hope you hit him. And the speedrunner even died the first time. And he's like, yeah, that happens in this fight. You know, you just got to... It's so bad.
Y'all.
So I finally realized that Sonic Adventure 1 is the superior game. And I thought I was the only person who held this opinion, but... Of course, you can probably find people on the internet who agree with anything, but at least on like the Sonic Adventure subreddit, there were a lot of people who were like, yeah, Sonic Adventure 2 looks better graphically and it has the Chow Garden, but the Sonic Adventure 1 levels are just
Bradley,
so much.
we'd be remiss if you didn't talk about your favorite feature of the Dreamcast, which, by the way, he hunted down a Dreamcast, did like several days of research on games to buy, all from that one Sonic video. It changed his life.
Cybershell sold Sonic Adventure 1 to me, so I would recommend anybody watch that video. He sold the game to me so well that I bought a Dreamcast, a console I never owned in my entire life, and this game.
And
just
became a massive Sega fan overnight. Do not watch this video. Apparently, it will literally convert you.
Yeah. I am a huge fucking fan, got a Dreamcast, and you know what's fucking cool? The Dreamcast memory card is a goddamn Game Boy. Has a screen in it, and you put it into your controller, and if you're playing Sonic Adventure, you can transfer your Chows to it, and you can play Chow Adventure on it. And it's fucking cool. There's a whole map with multiple endings, and there's like items you can only get from Chow Adventure. Oh my god, I love it.
It's generally kind of neat. It's actually
it's cooler than the actual game. Now, I'm trying to think of other stuff I need to mention. Differences between Dreamcast Sonic Adventure 2, GameCube Sonic Adventure 2. This is stuff I did not know until this year. Sonic Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast, number one. The Dreamcast was the first console to have built-in internet capabilities.
Yeah.
And so in Sonic Adventure games, you can connect to the internet and download stuff that you can only get by connecting to the internet. There's Chows, which I fucking love Chows, by the way. There's Chows you can only get by downloading them off the internet, like the Moon Chow, which looks fucking badass. But also, there's costumes for the characters in Sonic Adventure 2.
And these are kind of cool costumes. Like, some of them looked really cool.
There's like fucking Santa Shadow, and I'm not even kidding. This is the name they have for it in-game. Dominatrix Rouge. It's awesome.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, what my point is, I grew up loving Sonic Adventure 2, hating Sonic Adventure 1. Now that I've played both of them in their original form, I'd probably say my ranking is like Sonic Adventure 1 for the Dreamcast, up in the heavens. Down on Earth is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And then like slightly underground on Earth is Sonic Adventure 2 on Dreamcast. And then in the depths of hell, Layer 7 is Sonic Adventure DX.
In Red Mountain lies Sonic Adventure DX.
So good. That was a good motherfucking game. Like here, like Sonic. Okay, Super Mario 64. When you're talking about the levels, it's like they were levels that were probably good at the time. Sonic Adventure 1. I'm like, no, these levels are just cool. Period.
I watched Bradley play through one of the levels. Like, this is just kind of nice. It's kind of pleasant.
Oh yeah,
it's a good design level.
So yeah, everyone buy a Dreamcast.
Please look forward to Bradley's Sonic Adventure fan game. No shit's actually real thing.
Dude, and also, like, there's a website called Dreamcast Now where I got an adapter that basically converts your Wi-Fi into a dial-up signal so you can get online with your Dreamcast, and people still play online. I went on there yesterday on Dreamcast Now, and it shows people who are online on their Dreamcast, and it's like 3 people are currently inside Phantasy Star Online. Oh. There's five people playing versus in a game called Ooga Booga, I think it was.
Ooga Booga.
And like, there's Chow. If you go online in Sonic Adventure 2, there's like Chow forums. In 2021, people are still in the forums online on their Dreamcast.
I bet they're doing weird RP sex shit, though.
Oh, dude, you just know. So yeah,
That's weird.
good
Nice.
motherfucking game. Love it.
We just got fucking red pilled. Dreamcast fans are such big fans of this.
That's the thing. I've always
All
known it
20
was
of
like
you.
I've always known it was like a cult, and ever since I got one, I'm like, this is my motherfucking system.
This is the one.
This is the
Joe,
one.
you haven't gotten to talking a little bit. Why don't you tell me about Owl House?
Yeah,
Is that we're on right now?
I switched it up a little bit, but we're on Owl House.
I've been
Okay.
very curious about this cartoon.
So Disney right now is going through a little bit of a renaissance of their own with their cartoon block. DuckTales just ended. Very
Can
sad.
Disney
But
be going through a renaissance if they own everything? Like,
I mean,
That's a whole different renaissance. It's the
Yeah.
global saturation renaissance.
we call that global takeover. Anyways, but like they've been ever since Alex Hirsch, Gravity Falls really got popular. They gave him a lot more creative control, and he's now more a creative director over a lot of the cartoons that are coming out from Disney now, especially Disney XD. So the two cartoons that have really that are big right now are Amphibia and Owl House.
Dude,
Side
I want
note
to watch
about-
Amphibia.
Side note about Amphibia, that main character's character design is so SSS tier.
Yes,
She
dude.
looks so cool. Like, she looks so cute. And I like all the garbage in her hair. It looks great.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Amphibia yet. I don't know why. I just was like, I'm not going to watch this for right now. But while we were at Disney, an episode of Owl House came on, and we watched it. I was like, this is kind of cute. I
Yeah.
kind of want to watch it. And so I went. It's on Disney Plus. I think there's like 18 episodes or something. They're 30 minutes long.
I like how these are on Disney Plus. That makes me actually viably want to check them out.
Yeah. That's what I was. I'll just put this on. But anyways, Owl House is about a girl named Luz, who is her number one dream is to be a witch. However, because she lives in the real world, her second favorite dream is to be a writer. So you kind of immediately right off the top of the back, right first episode, you get established the very classic like no one understands me. I'm a writer and like I want to be creative and blah 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 blah. And her mom's like a nurse, and she's like, I need you to go to boarding school over the summer so you can have a good education and get a job. She ends up, for all intents and purposes, falling down a hole. It ends up in the Burning Isles, which is a magic realm where magic happens. And she runs into Ida the Owl Lady, who is so old she does not even know why she's called the Owl Lady anymore.
Is this like?
does she look like an owl?
Huh? Core mystery for season 1. So she joins up with the Owl Lady. Owl Lady's like, I'm going to teach you magic. And the first 3 episodes of the show are kind of rocky. And then once they introduce the magic school and the other witches that live in this place, the show really starts to kick off. And it's all about like acceptance and diversity. And there's a lot of like kind of interesting like things about like so like there's great world building in this world that gets introduced. Like one of the core features is like there are 10 magic guilds that you can join. However, once you join a magic guild, any other kind of magic is cut off from you forever.
Oh, cool.
So you get branded, and that is the only type of magic you can do for the rest of your life. And Ida's
Tell me some of these magic guild abilities. This is fun.
So you have the Abomination Guild, which makes these like goo creatures that like are like constructs that can do like that they're like workmen, or they can be like warriors, or they can just be tools. They're like basically like the big kind of like molding clay into things guild. There's the Plant Guild, where it's like they use vines and roots. One of the witches that I think Bradley would love is this little girl who has a natural talent of these roots, and she just makes them like come out of the ground and grow and uses them to attack and everything. You have the Illusionist Guild. People make illusions, and they do stuff like they make different like images, but they also like fuck with people's minds. So you have all these different types of guilds going on.
Is there a water or elementalist guild?
I'm pretty sure there is. I
You
can't
don't know all
remember
the
right now.
guilds yet.
No, they've only they've shown all the symbols for them, but we haven't gone to each one like really in depth so far.
What guild is losing?
Loses in none of the guilds. So this is an important plot. This is an important plot point too. It is illegal for you to not be in a guild.
Okay.
If you're in a guild, you're a fugitive of the law, which Ida is not part of a guild. and Ida says that if you join a guild, you basically give up free will. So it's all about teaching Luz the idea of like having free will without in this society, and like if Luz is like, well, I've always been an outsider, and these guilds give me a chance to be like part of a society kind of thing. So you have this kind of conflict of like, what does it mean to actually be a part of something? But there's a lot of these cool like world building segments going around. That doesn't fucking matter because Amity Blight's the best character in this show. She is basically the heel turned face of season 1, where she's like the bully, and as she gets to learn more about Luz, like she personally grows in the show, and it's very sweet and it's very touching.
I'll say that's always a good kind of character.
Yeah, and I just like looking the relationship these two build over the course of the show is just so lovely, and you get to understand that like you just see her go through this like, oh, this is what it's like to actually have people that care for you and what it means to like be cared for somebody. But I think the plot of the show, like it's very much like Gravity Falls, where like they have a plot set, like this is what it's going to be.
I mean,
so
if he's the creative director, right, he probably he probably likes to encourage his authors to have long running mysteries and probably give some tips on how to approach that.
So I don't know if he's actually creative direct. He's the
creative executor
or is creative like head creative consultant. He's the head creative consultant. So like someone came up with the world, and then he's there to kind of like rein them in, or like be like, here's what you should do in this situation, or here's what
have a scene where the cute villain turns someone inside out.
Yeah. There's an episode where they go into the library and all the characters in the library books come to life. But if you change things in the library books, it changes it changes that character.
Yeah,
I've
read the Bohemian Rhapsody arc. Go on.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is Mickey?
Yeah, where is he? That actually shows up. But like, I think the show itself is just very cute and endearing. Season 2 just started last week, and I watched the first episode of that. It's kind of like DuckTales, where it's not like Shonen One Piece hype. But I actually kind of feel attached to these characters. Nice. Like the end of season 1, like there's so much development in the world and the characters that like season 2 starts a whole different note, and like they're having to deal with issues from season 1 immediately. You get these great like back and forth between characters that you wouldn't think about having in season 1. And so there's a lot of growth in this show that I really, really like.
When you said you were going to talk about this, I didn't realize you were like this high on it. So that's cool.
I really liked it. Like I watched season 1 and I was like, man, I really like that show. And then season 2 came out and I watched the first episode and I was just like, I really just want to keep watching this. I was disappointed there wasn't more of the show to watch. Also, all the character designs I really love. They're very simple, but they have this like just like very charismatic or like endearing feel to them. There's also tons of references. Like in this latest episode, Luz is wearing a Team Aqua headband because she's on a pirate ship. Nice. So yeah. So I think it's a good fun show. It's only like 18 episodes. They're 30 minutes long. Hootie is the most annoying but like best comedic relief character in that entire show. He is literally the house. He's a bird that comes out of the house and it's a giant worm, which is funny because birds eat worms. So it's just, I don't know. I really enjoyed the show. And I think it's good world building. That's
nice.
Bradley should watch the show. Bradley would love this show.
I suspect I would.
I might like this.
Yeah.
But speaking of lesbian shows, me and Bradley finished Steven Universe Future.
Y'all.
Okay, so we've talked about this before on the podcast. Yeah. I stopped at like episode 8. Bradley stopped at like 10 because that's as far as had released at the time. So we're like, okay, we're probably like 4 episodes away from finishing. And like, I think the Death Battle YouTube channel was gonna do a Steven versus Star, and I remember they existed recently. And I was like, oh well, maybe I'll watch that video now that I remember this channel exists. Period. And I'm like, okay, I'll go watch Steven Universe. Turns out there are 20 episodes in the future season, so it is a real-ass, full-ass season.
Yeah, like I was... Like, whenever Steven Universe Future started coming out, I was like, oh, it'll probably be like a 11, 12 episode happy epilogue just to show what everyone's up to. And me and Willer found out it's not just the epilogue, it's the actual show.
The actual story that the entire show is trying to tell is hidden in this final bonus season that some people might not even watch.
God damn, like, what's incredible to me is Steven Universe proper had a Avatar The Last Airbender finale, which it's probably the only cartoon I would say that of. And then, so it's already one of the best finales to a cartoon I've ever seen.
Which people don't like that finale, but also people don't like the Avatar finale, so that is apt.
And then Steven Universe Future,
oh my God.
Not only, like, it tops that finale so hard.
I think Joe would really like the finale of Future.
God.
That was my biggest complaint about Steven Universe. I felt like the final season was rushed.
Me and Willer were some sad motherfucking boys after watching Steven. This is some of the darkest TV I have ever seen in my life.
Genuinely fucked up TV show. Each episode is 11 minutes. It is not okay.
I was
11 minutes of pain.
I think a scene that stands out to me, there's a scene where Steven's going to the... So Steven's 16 at this point. Mm-hmm. He goes to the doctor for the first time in his life because there's no gems around to help him. And the doctor is like, what is actually wrong with you? You have so many brain, like, skull fractures that, and, like, you've gone through so much stuff. Like, tell me some of, like, the emotional trauma you've gone through. And Steven starts listing it out. And she's like, oh my God, stop. And he's like, wait, that was just season 1 stuff.
And, like, there's some adult-ass problems that happened to Steven.
As a small spoiler, but, like, I think it would really intrigue people. You find out that Steven has such a misguided view on stress, or like his stress levels are so fucked up from his childhood that small world problems that we as adults face he views as world-ending catastrophes, because that is just how his brain is wired from how he grew up. And I'm just like, that is so good and it makes so much sense, and I feel really uncomfortable right now.
Oh man,
there's this scene where he like has his first fight with his dad, like a first verbal fight, and it is soul crushing. That episode is super interesting, actually.
That's because the first few episodes of Steven Universe Future are like, here's what the characters are up to, and then, you know, something uncomfortable might happen to Steven just thinking about the past and his mom, and you're like, oh, you know, there you go. And then episodes go on, Steven gets a little stressed, and I'm like, oh, you know, Garnet's going to give him some sage advice in the last episode and he'll be all right. And then the episodes keep going and like things just get dark as shit.
The second half of that season is genuinely watching episode by episode someone having a relationship ruining mental breakdown where he is destroying every relationship he's ever built and just like not knowing how to cope with it. And the episode before the climax is called Everything is Fine, and that is one of the most uncomfortable episodes of any cartoon I've ever watched. It is hard to watch.
Like, it got to the point where we were at such a dangerous and low point that I was like, the next episode has to be the finale. Like, it can't go lower than this. And then there were like 7 more episodes.
The final enemy of the series is brilliant. It was really good. Very, very
God,
cool fight.
Man.
And the last episode was a massive tearjerker.
Very fucking. I cried.
While I say this, it didn't feel like torture porny.
That's the thing. Like
I felt like it was kind of tastefully done.
Oh yeah, no, it's not like, it wasn't just like we're torturing this character just to torture this character. It was very organic. It was
very much the results of the past, and it's handled with the right amount of care. And like the end of the series is like, man, I've been thinking of like going to see a therapist, but the last episode was like, nah, I should reevaluate and then really take that seriously. Because boy,
I don't know if everyone will agree, but I would view watching Steven Universe and not finishing Future might be a bigger sin than watching Endgame and then not watching WandaVision.
What's interesting is people did not like Future.
They don't understand. People are fucking stupid.
Because I think they just wanted, like, Future is very much, and it has episodes for every character, but Future is the Steven and Jem show.
Yes.
And people wanted, like, I wanted more side adventures with Lapis, and what about, like, that obscure, like, those gems from the homeworld that are all amethyst? I wanted an episode with them. They wanted, like, the fan service wrap-up.
Yeah.
But they were trying to finish the story about Steven and the gems.
Yeah.
And the last episode is so Steven and Jem focused, and those are all my favorite characters. I like all the characters in the show, minus Ronaldo, who is just an awful, awful character. But, like, my favorites were always Steven and the Gems, which is probably why the show hits more for me, because I feel like people get more attached to the other characters and maybe some of the ships that they make with those characters and all that. But I was always about the main crew, mostly. And I love Peridot and like Bismuth is cool and Lapis.
Oh man,
like
all of them.
Steven, Amethyst, Pearl, and Garnet is what I'm there for. And man, the last scenes with these characters killed me. It was so good.
Will and I were just very surprised that we went so long without watching the second half of the season, because we're like, oh my god.
Ostensibly the true plot of the series, but there it is.
Anyone who has not finished Steven Universe Feature, holy fuck.
The last episode I watched Steven Universe was Connie and Lars being like, Steven, we're not together anymore, and that's okay.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
No, not Connie and Lars. Sadie.
Not Connie. Sadie and Lars, that's her name.
That was really mature, and I think people probably expected more out of that, but I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that episode, Steven, I feel like, just learned a good lesson, but also kind of started questioning himself.
That was the start of the downfall.
Because he was like,
what's funny?
He's like, when did this happen? He's like, when did this happen? He's like, how did you guys break up and I didn't know about it? And they're like, because it was fucking private. It's our business.
Yeah.
There's an episode where, like, it's a Steven and Peridot episode, and it's like, Steven cannot have normal relationships in a peaceful world, and you're just like, Christ. The one negative I have for the show is how they handle the diamonds. I still think that, like, things just are too clean with the diamonds. They're not resistant enough for the change they made. I could live with them making, like, the changes that they made structurally with, like, their society, right? But they're also just, like, all sweet people now. They're a little misguided, but they're all, like, suddenly, like, really righting their wrongs. I'm like, this is a little forced. But aside from that,
what's funny is that, like, I think that's like episode 8 or 9. That episode with Sadie, and Lars. And I remember Will telling me, it's like, oh, it's only a 10-episode series. I'm like, well, this is kind of weird that we're gonna be at this episode. The next one's gonna be a finale.
Yeah.
Whatever. I won't watch finale. And then turns out there was like 10 more episodes.
Yeah, I was told it was like a limited series where they would go for as long as they can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought it was just gonna be like, oh, it's gonna just like we're gonna have like one-off like relationship conversational topics maybe, because like I like that episode because I was going through that basically in myself. And I was just like, this guy hits too close to home. I'm glad it's a subject matter that's being addressed.
Man, honestly, be more prepared for this than Bo Burnham by like 100 times. This was a lot more impactful.
Where can you watch this now? Because they're not all on Hulu anymore.
I watched it on Amazon, but
I watched it on Amazon.
That
also
required me to buy the season, but I think it might just be viewable through video. But I did buy the season, so that's how I did it.
Money well spent.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. Very good existential crisis. Good show. Steven's like one of my favorite characters, man. I love that kid.
Like I already liked Steven just because like he's such an enjoyable person, but I didn't know if I would have put him like in my list of like top 20 best characters like ever. But now I'm like,
it makes rewatching the show quite the prospect because of it.
It's like, it's such a cool way to explore the main character who is always perfectly loving and friendly to everybody, taken to like its real world extreme.
Bro.
And it's like, what happens to a character who is perfectly understanding and loving to everybody all the time?
That episode with Jasper happens, and somehow there's like 4 episodes after, and you're like, how can we keep going?
God damn.
For our final talk, we'll try to be brief here because we've talked about Guilty Gear Strive before, but it's come out for real.
Last week.
And the boys are getting into it. Now, I got bummed to find out that Tyler's having a miserable time, so I will not be playing with him anymore. But Joe's like really out here grinding, and I'm really proud of his progress because Joe told me it's like I don't expect to get more than 10 wins, and like you're like at 70 now. I feel like
I'm at 164.
Holy, you have probably more wins than me. What the fuck?
I didn't even know.
I have more
Like
time.
I didn't even know you could tell how many wins you have.
It's a little badge when you go into the little screen to fight people. If you hit square before you hit ready, it will show you like things you have. So yeah,
Noted.
I'm at like 164 or something like that.
That's cool. Good job, man.
I was shocked. I like looked up. I was playing. I was like, oh, I wonder how many wins I'm at. And it was like 55. I was like, what? I was
Which is great.
Shocked.
You know what? I'm gonna pat something in the back, and that is myself, but not for teaching Joe. I'm gonna pat myself in the back for getting Joe to play Darkstalkers 3. Because for some reason that game unlocks the understanding of fighting games for everyone who touches it, including me. That was the turning point game of my career.
You know what it was? It was the half circle back motion that I learned. Because it's a fundamental move you have to do in the game, and
For
because
all
of it,
supers, pretty much.
because of it, I'm just like, all right, triangle. I hit you. Your life bar's orange. Well, you're dead. Sorry.
Yeah, Joe plays Giovanna. It's been mentioned. She's very cool. Did you know Giovanna's Brazilian? And when she pops her RC, she goes, "Vamos lá," which means "let's go."
Yeah. She's very good giving Nico Robin a run for her money because she's literally just Sanji in the female form.
Yeah, a little bit. She does the party table kick.
Well, no, because I was watching. So the Strive story in a game is not like a story mode. It's literally just a movie. So you just sit there and you just like watch the events that happen during this game unfold in front of you. But she's
watched Wooly versus Guilty Gear lore series.
I was watching those too.
Okay, I've been meaning to check them out.
It still doesn't make any fucking sense.
It is incredibly complex lore.
Yeah, but I watched that and she's just super horny, and it's like, all right, yeah, you're just basically Sanji because you have party table kit, you're all kicks, and you have a dog.
I like the lines when she wins the fight. She talks to her dog and they're having a conversation. You don't get to hear what the dog's talking about, but it's just cool to hear her end of it. And you're like, what are they talking
It's
about?
very Han Solo Chewbacca kind of relationship. And I kind of wish there was more lines, or they would just release more lines.
That'd be cool. More win lines.
There's not a lot of like, I don't know if there are for anyone else because I only play Giovanna, but there's not a lot of like, I went up against this person so I get a special line kind of thing.
There's like none of that actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like, if you do like Sol versus Kai, who are like rivals in lore, I don't think there's anything special there, which is kind of lame.
I am playing the most difficult character apparently in the game.
Yeah,
Tyler is playing the character with the highest skill floor, but you don't really need to know all his big setups early on, so like there's no need to stress. You just need to know fundamentals mostly. But he's playing Zato 1, who can be kind of a nightmare to fight.
There's definitely times when I play Tyler where like he'll give me like, oh, I'm just dead, because he'll give me a corner and he's at the perfect distance away. It's like I can't leave because Eddie will just hit me back to the corner, and then I'm just stuck in this frog chain hellhole of
I do know hell a little bit.
You do.
I do all right playing against, like, I'm only on floor 5. I'm not in heaven. I'm a Heaven's Arena chump.
The highest I got was 8.
You guys are so hard on yourself. Do you realize how much better you are comparatively to me in the amount of time you've played fighting games? This is so unfair to me. You guys are being really big assholes right now.
You started when you were young. You didn't have the thumbs to reach from one side of the D-pad to the other.
I was a fucking high schooler, all right. I had thumbs.
I am. Like, I played against Joe today, and I kind of understood bait. Like, I know what the definition of baiting something means.
Yeah, but let's see.
I kind of experienced it for the first time today.
This would be
like, I'm really, really struggling with, like, what Zato does and how blocking works in this game in ways that pressure is being applied. Because it's like, when I see Joe do his combo, and I'm like, oh, I recognize that's the end of the combo. Now is my turn. And it's like, no, there's no stopping. He can just infinitely do that over and over. And I'm like, I can't process where the stop is.
Yeah, for Giovanna.
Giovanna's drill kick is positive, so he gets to keep playing the video game.
Yeah,
however,
and I'm like,
it's interruptible. So the way you have to do it,
he does it.
I do it. I just hate it because I'm like, this is a skill. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is Dragon Rush. If I block it, he doesn't get to play the game.
You can't block Dragon Rush. It's a grab, bud. Yeah. Oh wait, no, you're thinking of the super dash. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, super dash. I'm like, oh, he's closing the gap. He doesn't get to play the game.
That's just a knowledge check. No. That is my game.
that is her game, yeah.
The other thing about her is that her kickflip overhead, that's also safe on block. It's like 4 frames safe.
However, I feel like that one's really easy to do forward punch on.
That one is extremely interruptible. Like, that's like my big knowledge check in the floors is that if I can get that off on someone twice, I'm like, all right, I know how to beat this guy now because they don't know how to deal with it.
For me, it's just like I'm getting to the point where it's like I'm watching Joe's character a little bit more than I'm watching mine.
That is how it should be, actually.
Yeah, and I've never been able to do that, and I'm kind of getting there to where my reactions are like I can recognize the animation for the dash thing. Like I did this a lot when I played against like some people online. I'm like, oh, block, like forward.
He was killing Giovanna's and whatever.
Yeah, because he played stronger Giovanna.
Shocking,
I did. I was like, dude, these Giovannas suck compared to Joe.
No, you're like, I get ping ponged a lot in the tower. I got up to 8. I got hit back to 6 now. I'm pissed.
I abused the shit out of this. I was like, this is nothing compared to Willer. Like, get me. And that's what I was like venting to you last night. I was like, I feel like I'm losing because I'm not getting any better because I'm playing the characters y'all play. It's just
You're winning.
I am.
See, this upset. Like you used the word pressure earlier in the correct sense, and I felt so proud. But then I just remembered that like apparently you're having a bad time, and I feel bad for introducing you to this world to Period.
I learned something today. I was watching Sage. I'm also now watching Sagem because he's been doing a lot of content on Strive, and I just fucking hate it now. There's a third fucking bar on the screen called the risk gauge.
Yes, the risk gauge,
which.
Don't worry about it too much. I mean, I think you're at a point now where you have enough brain capacity to worry about the risk gauge. But
it explains a lot because basically when it
is that the danger and positive.
No, that's something something else.
Yeah.
That's basically if you're not being aggressive enough, the game will penalize you if you're just blocking and walking backwards too much. Anyways, but the risk gauge is like basically if you keep blocking, I think number one, if that gets full, it breaks your block.
If it gets full, what happens is the next attack is a counter hit no matter what. However...
It's the next 5 attacks is a counter hit. Yeah. So, yeah. If in addition, if it is like halfway full, the next hit that person gets off on that person does more damage.
So, Tyler, it's the gauge underneath your health bar. It's a very small purple gauge.
Yeah, it's underneath the burst.
That doesn't exist. That's an invisible UI element to me.
Don't worry about it.
No.
One day
I'm saying that's an invisible UI element. That's its classification.
One day when you're ready, it's going to appear on the screen. But
I was always wondering why like I was just getting fucking huge ass hits against like me. It was because I was being so aggressive or I was being so defensive that like and I finally the block broke and I just got flown across the
screen. Here's the thing with Arc System Works' design of fighting games, and this is why I can't always get into their games, like Dragon Ball and Blaze Blue. Cross Tag is different. Cross Tag is beautiful. They're very offense-oriented, and they will design the game to make everyone Unga Bunga, even the zoner is Unga Bunga.
Unga Bunga, yeah.
So, that's something to keep in mind.
But... Tyler, if it's in consolation, like I will play and then I will fucking hate this game for like a solid 3 hours, and then I will hate Willer for like 30 minutes, and then I will eventually be like, all right, I'm done.
I don't hate it that much. The times when I hate it are when I don't know the concepts.
Yeah.
When I don't understand the concepts and it's like it's not readily available to me. Like today, Joe and I are playing. We're both at one sliver of health. I'm like, Joe's going to go up into the air and he's going to dash. And every time he does that, I hit him with my little punch,
Yes,
and
the
it
forward
beats
punch.
him. Yeah, and it beats him in the air every time. And he did a cancel thing, and I don't understand why that beats me at that sliver of health. And I'm like, I don't like. And we both
You Roman canceled in the air.
I knew he was gonna do it, so I Roman canceled it and then punched him and killed him.
But here's the thing: if I only know that because I'm playing with Joe. If I was online, I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, it was literally like I Roman canceled the Roman cancel. I canceled the Roman cancel, like it burst, and then I just immediately punched him.
Nice.
I did that move, so
Like-
I'm just like, oh, that worked. Thank God.
And that's my biggest thing is it's like
Yeah.
I don't know the concept yet. I'm bad. And so like if I was playing my friend who
Yeah.
told me what happened, I would just be like, no fucking clue.
I cannot stress enough how much everyone needs to use the replay channel in this game. It is so important.
I did
It is
like yesterday,
It
and I
is
was like,
such a good tool.
it taught me something very important. Is that, and you already mentioned it before, but I'd never seen it in action because I'm the only one playing Giovanna. Is Giovanna's kick and what it can set up? Because I learned a nice little trick where basically you can go dash over someone. If you hit them with a kick on the other side, you can do the spinning overhead, which will flip that person in front of you, which you can then immediately heavy kick, and it does like 40% damage.
the only moves faster than Giovanna's frame data, I'm pretty sure, is grab.
No.
No.
No. The
Oh,
fastest
maybe Dolphin.
No, the fastest.
No.
Dolphin is slow and everyone's bad. I'm sorry. May is genuinely the most honest character in this video game, and I'm sorry you guys are not ready for that conversation. That's fine.
Willer, it's okay,
May
dude.
is
You don't
so
have to defend
fucking
yourself.
honest.
Like everybody, all of the internet is complaining about the Dolphin. There's obviously
except the players
there's
who
a
know how to
dolphin.
play the game, where they're like, "Oh, I get it. There's a slow dolphin and there's a fast dolphin."
Fast
and
dolphin.
You're playing.
Slow
them,
is not safe. Fast is safe. I think no, it's the other way around.
reverse.
Reverse.
The thing is, so very quickly, there's been a conversation about this game that I don't agree with, and it's that the game is doing super well. But people like Maximilian Dude are old school fighting game people who like big long combos. And while he won't describe this as his issue with the game, he's going to say that the game was simplified, and that's not why people are playing. They're playing because it has good netcode, because it looks nice, and because there's a lot of people playing. Those are all factors, don't get me wrong. That is why people are playing. I don't think you can discount the simplification as a reason why people are getting into this game.
I mean, I think that's one of the big reasons. I don't like games with long combos because we played Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and like we'll just pull off a long combo. It's like, oh, this is horrendous.
Those are so short. You don't.
And those
you
are
don't-
short.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, why would I do this? Because it comes down to, and I get the technique that's going to in dexterity. Like, you have to practice this combo over and over
But
again.
here's the thing, that becomes a one-player game. The
Yeah.
beauty of fighting games to me is decision-making in neutral, and then some optimization to the combo. I want combos to be like short, high damaging, and show your knowledge of the game.
y'all want a hot take?
Yeah. Yeah.
People who play fighting games just like a different genre than Call of Duty players, but same mentality.
No, it's a team-based.
Uh,
One's
I-
team-based, one's fully like self-improvement based.
You just said one of those is team based, and I'm like, fighting games where people play for the same company are more team based than Call of Duty games. As somebody who's done MLG coaching, Call of Duty is a 1v4 sport.
Sure, but I don't think they have the same mentality. The FGC is like its own little bubble of video gaming that is very weird, and I've been in for many years.
But I mean, and I think one of the biggest
But, like,
arguments was
So, the way I see it, say you're playing plus R or Exerd, and you look at all the you go through the tutorial, and there's so many mechanics, and each character has so many gimmicks that you see this wall in front of you, and even if you hit buttons against someone of the same player level, like thankfully Joe and Tyler have each other, but also there's so many players in their skill level right now, which is a blessing. That doesn't change the fact that, like, don't you look at the amount of stuff you don't know and get like there's a daunting level to it. But in Strive, there's less things you have to know.
yeah.
Um,
And Will mentioned this before, but like a lot of anime games do sometimes come down to the knowledge check.
anime games are so knowledge checking.
And-
I'm in
and
heaven right now, and
Yeah.
It is knowledge check central. Do you know everything about your opponent? Yes or no?
Yeah. Like, because it's like, well, then the Tyler, you're making noises, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
I hear you beating it up, you naughty boy.
Yeah. The other thing too is like when you have some mechanics, it becomes less of your ability to like play the game and more of like, all right, well now I'm at the point where I have to actually learn this part of the game now.
That's still very much in there, but at least they sped up the portion in which you need to learn how to execute. And I think that's great.
That's my biggest thing about bringing another game example is Dota and League of Legends, because I played 900 hours of Dota 2, and there were just portions of that game I could not comprehend.
Same genre, same mentality.
Same genres. It's just like they're like, oh, you have to stack the creep cans. I'm like, at what point am I supposed to know that? At what point does it become relevant for me to do that?
That's how I feel too about, like, this is my first real, I would say this is my first real fighting game I've played, probably.
For both of you, really, because Joe mostly just played me in Cross Tag.
And I like fighters because I enjoy Dragon Ball Super, and I'm a heathen.
That's true.
And but like,
here's the thing: I like fighters. Never will I ever enjoy a like 3-tag battle game ever again.
That is not Dragon Ball. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. I actually have hated them all up until Dragon Ball Super, and I only like it because I know all the characters.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too. But like, I don't like the idea of restricted knowledge being. It's not like, I don't like restricted knowledge is okay as like a skill check thing, sure, but like there's the gap between that should not be huge. Does that make sense? Like
it's bigger than you realize, but also it's just.
But
I think the brilliant part of Strive is the big damage and the gut system. Have you realized that as your health bar gets lower, you get more defense?
No.
Yes, I have.
No, I've noticed that if I get smacked through a wall, I should lose.
The wall mechanic and the big damage are brilliant, because if you mess up in the corner in Exert and plus R, you will never escape that corner. You will just die. You get one more chance at neutral when you get busted through the wall.
Yeah,
and I think that's a good system.
I've won a lot of games because they bust through the wall, and I've been able to get back in and just like win the neutral again because I didn't get hit by the fucking thing that hit me
because of that
time.
The knowledge check is a little more lenient. Just a
little bit more lenient.
All these small decisions that I think added up to a game that did exactly what they wanted it to do.
The thing is like with the Roman cancel, for example, like that already, like something can happen, you might not be able to realize immediately what actually happened and why it worked that way. And that's the frustrating part of it. It's like, why didn't this thing work when I thought it would work? And you just gotta know, but like, I don't think that a good game has more complex systems in it, because that's absurd.
I think there's beauty in simplicity, which is why I've always liked Street Fighter, but I digress. People are gonna say that, first of all, this game still has hella mechanics, so like, it's simplified, but people are pretending like
Faust literally throws shit at you, and if you don't hit it, it hits Faust instead, he dies. Or if you pick up the trumpet, the dudes are on your side instead of his.
There's so much bullshit in this, and people are pretending like this is suddenly baby game because it doesn't have the Gatling system from the other games, which is the extended combo system. I'm like,
what is Gatling? Just another word for combo?
Gatling is a word for a combo, a string of normals that go into each other. Anyway,
so that's called a combo.
Combo.
No, sorry. A Gatling is specifically that the normals cancel into each other in a combo. I can explain later. I don't want to extend this podcast for too much longer. But like, in reality, every button now has a very distinct use, which I really like. And like, your triangle and circle are your big combo buttons. Your low kicks is how you combo into sweep into special, but not a big combo. And your light is used usually as a get off me tool and stuff like that. So, but either way, that's enough Strife. I'll definitely continue to play this. I will say, in Heaven, I have like a 30% win rate. In Floor 10, I am quite the menace. So I'm kind of a fraud in Heaven. I'm still like roughly at the 50 percentile of the Heaven rankings. So like,
you're at 802.
Like that's not bad. I'm probably lower now because I haven't played today. But either way, like that ain't bad for my first Guilty Gear. But I digress. It is harsh. Chip players, please tell me what the fuck you're doing, because I cannot stand playing your character. No, nuh-uh.
I know.
His buttons are 3 frames. They are so fucking fast.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's the podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for surviving Fighting Game Talk. Thank you for surviving Dreamcast Talk, which will probably be the name of this episode.
Dreamcast talk.
It'll be
Adventures in Dreamcast
the
Land.
Dreamcast. Because we're the Roundabout cast.
Hey,
I know how
I don't
to
do
do
taxes.
All right, bye-bye.